Hey guys, welcome to episode 42, right? Is it 42? Okay. Episode 42 of Teens and Faith Catholic Conversations. I'm your host, Annie, and I'm joined by my co-host, Gianna.
What's up?
So before we get into this episode, we want to start off with our prayers. O Saint Philomena, a virgin and martyr, pray for us that, through thy most powerful intercession, we may obtain that purity of mind and heart which leads to the perfect love of God. Amen.
Amen.
And now the prayer to the Holy Ghost. Come, Holy Ghost, fill the hearts of thy faithful, and kindle in them the fire of thy love.
Forth thy spirit, and they shall be created.
And thou shalt renew the face of the earth. Let us pray. O God, who hast taught the hearts of the faithful by the light of the Holy Ghost, grant that by the gift of the same Spirit we may be always truly wise and ever rejoice in his consolation through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
So, Gianna, what do we have coming up this episode?
This episode, we will be doing our Mother's Day episode, our late Mother's Day episode. So I think Annie and I both think it actually went better than we expected.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
it was kind of interesting to sit through. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah. We also in this episode, our moms will be talking about how our churches, our missions, on how they formed. And I know someone asked us if we would do something about that, or like do an episode about that. So we added it into this episode. So
Neatly.
yeah, they went into detail. If you want any more detail, just
Let us
let
know.
us know. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah. So what have you been up to, Annie?
Well, unfortunately for me, guys, adulthood has started early. Just kidding. So I, as you all know, famously crashed my car into a tree. Horrible. Despise it. Thinking about it, like literally every time because I drive past there every day I go to work or nanny, I drive past that tree unless I go to the other side of my street, which is very unlikely. And it's like every time I pass there, I take the widest right turn ever, just so I don't it's horrible. Anyways, but so my car, I just did not tell my parents this because I am such a great child, is dying and breaking and horrible. So my mom knew that the registration on it was like 11 months old, right? So she's like, okay, we better get this registered up again. So we try to do it online, and she's like, this isn't working. Weird. Okay, let me just go in and do it. So she goes into the DMV and she's like, oh, you can't register it because the car was totaled. Because when Elias crashed it back in 2024, 3, I don't know, it got totaled. It's still drivable, but it got totaled. So we bought it back and whatever. Anyways, and my mom's like, oh, but we bought it back. And then the lady at the DMV was like, yeah, you can just, okay, no problem. Just like, we'll have somebody come in and make sure it like meets all these standards. And my mom's going through the list. She's like, it's meeting none of these standards because the passenger side door likes to fly open. So I have not told my parents either of these stories. So one time I was driving home with my little brother Nicholas and the door flew open. So I had to pull over and slam it, right? And sometimes it doesn't like to slam first try. So I'm just sitting there like doing this. And I looked at Nicholas and I was like, we're not telling mom and dad this. He was like, got you. And then because I either had to drive that beat up or I didn't get a car, right? So and then I was late to pick up Benjamin from somewhere, and my door flies open, and it's like I'm the only car in my lane, and I was like, oh my gosh. So thankfully I got it shut in time, but yeah, and then the it my car does not like to accelerate fast anymore, and sometimes I'll be in the middle of the road and it will just decide to stop accelerating, so I'm pumping in like come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, and it always works because I say the sinkers for prayer. So yes, when I told my mom all this stuff, she's like, you need a car. So they went to the car store and looked at some cars, and so basically what they decided is they will buy a car and it is theirs, but I can pay them monthly. So I have to put the down payment on it, and then I can pay them monthly, and then by the once I get to enough money, like of putting into that car, it will just be my car, so I like get it when I move out and stuff. So I'm getting a new car, which I'm really excited about because it's a really nice car. Um, yeah, I'm so excited. It's gonna be so good. I'm naming it Christopher. Anybody want to know why I'm naming it Christopher? Because my mom says, and I quote, "You need all the help you can get." So, yeah, I'm naming it
Okay.
Christopher. So really
Yeah.
excited. And then my mom's best friend just had a baby. I don't know if I mentioned that. I've gotten to hold him so many times, just not so many times, like twice, but for a long periods of time. Anyways, he's so cute. I love newborn babies so much. He's so tiny. He's like not even 8 pounds yet. He's just Oh, he's adorable. Shout out to Logan. I love you, Logan. Anyways, what about you,
You
Gio?
8 pounds yet?
No, because he was in the NICU, so he lost a ton of weight, like in the NICU.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
pretty sad, but he's
That
adorable.
really brings the stress out of a baby.
Yeah.
It was a lot of weight. Um, Not much. It was funny because right before this, right before we started recording the intro and outro, we did the interview with our moms. And afterward, like the break we had in between, Annie was like, "So, like, what are you gonna talk about?" I'm like, "I don't know." Like, or like, I write down everything that I might find interesting in a day-to-day basis. And write it down. So I'm like, okay, I have this prepared for the next podcast because otherwise it's gonna be like, oh, I don't have anything to talk about. And like I was telling Annie, like all I would talk about is how I sleep and then I eat and then I repeat the same cycle every single day. I don't do anything interesting. So, but I thought this might be somewhat interesting. Uh, um, so another insight onto how boring I am. Even my dreams have followed that. So like I've been remembering more of my dreams lately. Yeah.
That's insane.
And and I basically dream about life. But there's like a small element to it that makes it not real. So it like is a dream. Like
Yeah.
for example, one of the dreams I had was I dreamt about having a birthday party for myself, but all of my dad's side of the family came to my birthday party. And that is the fake element of it because my dad's side, like the everyone on my dad's side of the family doesn't even know when my birthday is.
Oh.
Um, so we don't talk to them that much. Like we don't interact with them that much, mostly because they're all older and they all disagree on a very like two very important things, religion and politics. So that's why it's fake, but the birthday party is real, that sort of thing. Or like I had another dream where my hair was actually done nicely. So, my hair was done, but it was done nicely, which is the fake element. Because, yeah, I had like this special hairstyle or whatever that, I don't know, I did. And then another dream I had was I dreamt about having napkins on the dining room table. We have a napkin dispenser on the dining room table, but it is always empty. There are never napkins in it. That's why it's
Wait,
a dream.
you dreamt about having napkins. Are you okay? There was nothing else to this dream?
No.
Oh my goodness. My dreams are
Although,
so much different than yours. They are so wild.
although, just recently I did actually have more of a no, what you would call a normal dream. So it was weird. It wasn't like really insanely wild, but what happened was, I don't know, I was dreaming that I was on this island, and so there's this okay, so there's this hospital downtown. Like I don't know exactly where it is. I want to say I don't know. It's not quite in Milwaukee, I don't think. It's like right on the edge or whatever. I don't know.
Mm,
But there's this hospital that used to be an orphanage, and we would pass it all the time on the highway when we would go to church from my first house. So, that same hospital was floating on the water. Like, it wasn't connected to anything. It was just randomly
yeah.
floating on the water. So, my job in my dream was to push the hospital, and this is like this whole thing is massive. It looks basically like orphanage, like this really big orphanage, and it's like all
Mm,
brown and really old and everything. So I was supposed to push it back to land. I did that somehow with my like super strength or whatever. I don't know.
yes.
It was really weird. But I was like, yeah, I
Hey.
finally actually had a crazy dream instead of, dreaming that we actually had napkins on our dining room table. So,
That is hilarious. I only ever get like weird dreams. Also, my dreams are like extremely like graphic. Like one time I had a dream my coworker was murdering my brother. And then I had to go to work next day with that coworker and I was like Like I literally, she is the sweetest person ever. She is so funny. I cannot look at her the same. Like I cannot. Like it is, and she was my favorite coworker too. And I was like, you have to be kidding me. Like, oh my goodness.
You can't trust her anymore
Yeah, I can't.
after
It
what
was
she did.
after what she did to my brother. Um,
Yeah.
in my dream. Yeah. Anyways, sorry about our
Yeah.
rant again, but we will now interview our mothers. All right, so now it is time to interview our moms. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, starting with Gianna's mom?
I am the oldest of seven. Um, I've been married for 17 years. I have three kids. I've always wanted more kids, but God has had other things in mind, so I have not been lucky enough to have any more. So that's something that has always been more difficult, and Gianna can attest to that for herself when hearing things about, oh, you come from a small family, not by choice, for her or for myself. Um, but I had a brother who had cancer growing up. He passed away when he was 10 and I was 15. So that was a struggle. I always wanted to go into the medical field partly because of that. And I started in college as like pre-med, going to become a physician's assistant, and found out that advanced chemistry and I did not click. So I went into business instead. I have my undergraduate degree in accounting and I have a master's degree in tax. And I worked in that field for quite a while, for about 13 years. And then I was finally able to leave and stay home with the kids when they were still younger. Um, and now I've been home and homeschooling them. Gianna went to public school for 2 years. And ever since that point, she's been homeschooled after that. And the boys have been homeschooled their entire time too. So I enjoy staying home with them. It is much preferable to the work world, we'll say. So,
All right, your turn.
My turn, yay. My name is Amber, but I am apparently more famously known as Annie's mom now because wherever we go, people know who Annie is, which I'm totally fine with. I was born to a military family, so I moved all over the United States and somehow decided that North Dakota was the best place to spend all of the rest of my life in, which actually I agree with that decision now. But when I was 18, I like cried and cried and cried because this is where we were, well, 16, because this is where we were moving, and then I never left. I was not born Catholic. I was born to like a non-denominational Protestant family. We just went to the church on base, whatever base we lived at. So I was baptized in a full bathtub of water in a Southern Baptist church. So yes, I had a definitely non-Catholic upbringing. And then I stayed in town, where Grand Forks, North Dakota, to go to college, and I got a degree in chemical engineering because I did like advanced chemistry. Trisha, it's fun, okay? But I never went to work. So I had an interview when Elias was like 3 months old, but he was sick, and I was supposed to get on a plane at like 4 a.m. and fly to Illinois for this interview with a company called Cargill, and I couldn't do it. I could not bring myself to get on that plane and go. And I was like, what am I doing? I don't want to work. Work life is not suited for me. So my husband went into policing, which we joke about because a chemical engineer has a much higher income threshold throughout their career than a police officer, but it was the right decision. And work is not suited for me. I love being retired. So I homeschool my kids, and I'm a ray of sunshine. I'm the most positive person you'll ever meet, which is a lie, but that's me.
All right.
Annie's facial reactions to a lot of that were fantastic.
I'm so glad this is just a Zoom between us. Otherwise, our audience would just like, yeah. Yeah. All right.
Okay. Should I skip the set of
Yeah,
questions since
just
they
skip
both
that
kind of
because they
answered? I
already
couldn't
answered
think.
that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think your mom
Okay.
did say that though. Your
I
mom
did
didn't
not.
say that she grew up
Oh,
betting.
okay. Do you want to say that real quick?
Shall I answer that? Did
Yeah.
I grow up sedevacantist? That's kind of complicated because when I was born, like Father Chicada and then Father Dolan, and then Father Sanborn and that whole group were still part of SSPX with Archbishop Lefebvre. I was actually baptized by then Father Kelly, who became Bishop Kelly of SSPV. I was I got my catechism classes and things from Father Chicata and from a sweet lady at church that we had, Mrs. Kalian. And I received my first communion from Father Jenkins, who is part of SSPV. So people hadn't completely split yet. Trivia, my parents were the first ones married by Father Chicata after he had been ordained a priest. So that was his first matrimony ceremony that he performed. And my parents ended up, when the nine split from SSPX, my parents followed them. And slowly we went around to different places, had mass in bowling alleys and hotel conference rooms and that type of basements of banks. I remember doing a May crowning in the basement of a bank one year when I was like 6, maybe 5, 6, something like that. So Annie, you can appreciate having weird random apartments and that type of thing. Yeah, I know exactly what that's like. That's what we had growing up. And then they bought, Father Hugh Wish left money for Father Chicata to buy a building in Milwaukee and to have a church after Father Wish died. And Father Chicata ended up finding this building. The Archdiocese of Milwaukee did not want to sell a building to us because we were sedevacantist. And so the Archdiocese of Milwaukee did everything in their power. So we ended up to stop us from doing that. So we ended up buying this church from Protestant group. And so my parents followed Father Chicata, Father Dolan. And so that's how I ended up growing up. So yes, technically I grew up in all of this, but it was real messy with them not having fully split, and everyone was trying to figure stuff out at that time, and it was a chaotic mess.
Nice. All right. So our next question is, can you talk about how your churches like came to be and like are now a thing?
I touched on that a little bit. So we were left money by Father Wish, and Father Chicata was from the area, from Milwaukee area, so he knew and wanted to set something up here. And Bishop Dolan was very much involved in all of that. The two of them worked well together. And they ended up purchasing this building from, I think they were Polish Protestant. I don't know. The building needed to be completely redone. So my sister-in-law and I put together a book a few years ago of past pictures and then what it looks like now. My dad and the man who is coordinator of our church worked together, and for the most part, it was the two of them who ended up doing all of the woodwork. Everything that you see in there now is thanks to them, and still is, as they both still work through things. My dad has made portable altars, so the portable altar that you have up in North Dakota, my dad made that.
Really? I did not know
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at all of the different missions, he has made them. Bishop Dolan was very insistent and had very specific, he was very specific in what he wanted. And my dad built it according to that. And so they ended up building this, renovating the entire place. It still needs lots of work. It is not in the greatest of neighborhoods. Father McKenna and I will joke about this regularly too. It's not the greatest neighborhood, but it looks completely different on the inside than what you would expect walking in. There's the corner church, and we've had many priests throughout the years coming through there, and it formulated from that, and it just started with a very tiny little group of people, and we are now at 2 masses every Sunday. We have a priest comes in by Friday night. We have Friday night mass, Saturday morning mass, Sunday mass, 2 of them, because it was getting too crowded for everyone in there. Probably about 100, 110 maybe typical parishioners there for the 2 masses. So we've grown substantially, especially considering going back to our pool halls, bowling alleys, bank basements, and now this. So it's basically where we started from.
That's pretty cool. Since I completely butchered how our church came about, do you want to
Oh, yes.
talk about that?
I think you're going to ask this question later too, but So Gianna's uncle, when he was in high school, and if I get this story wrong, I apologize, decided just naturally, he's a very, very intelligent man, like there is a God. Like he naturally, concluded that. And then he was like, well, it doesn't make sense that there's all these religions, so it's got to be one. So he was just like going to try them all out. And I don't know how much of trying he did, but he like went through systematically every religion and kind of settled on Catholicism. And then he was like, wait a minute, there's some problems here with, the Vatican II Church and original Catholicism. And so then he became a sedevacantist and converted a group of six.
Six, yeah, roughly.
Some came later, but six friends, including my husband. And that is our mission. It's those men who have been friends with David since he was 18. And, people have come and gone. They leave because of jobs, not because of, loss of belief. But, and it was just adults that were part of this mission. And we had mass like once or twice a year, maybe. Because when Gianna's aunt married Gianna's now uncle, she was connected with the church Trisha just spoke about, and so we were able to get then Father McGuire to come up here every once in a while, and then we had Father Larrabee come up once. He actually baptized Benjamin, and then Father McKenna was the new young priest, and so he got what he calls the mud run, which is driving up to all the missions. And it was doing that about like 3 or 4 times a year. At the time, we were at David and Jody's house. And then it moved to our basement. And so that portable altar was in our basement for several years, maybe.
Yeah,
And then we outgrew that because we just started having kids, because that's what we do well is, we populate. So these men started getting, originally it was just a bunch of young men, and then they slowly got married and then started having kids. And then we moved to the La Quinta, where Annie had her wonderful first communion on festive carpet. And then then we went to the apartment, also not in the best neighborhood. My husband, who's a police officer, definitely would have to go down to lower apartments and be like, please stop playing your rap music for just like 45 minutes. That would be great. Not the easiest to concentrate when some of that is going on. But they were always, this is North Dakota. They were nice. They turned it down for him. But then one of our made you change the story.
You did, because I butchered it so
Okay,
bad.
so here's a little tidbit, you guys. If you're ever nervous to come on this podcast, just know there's so much editing. So when Annie and Gianna originally filmed the story of our church, Annie was like, oh, and this guy found an abandoned warehouse on his property and was like, oh, that would make a great church. That is not how that went down. It was an established outdoor garage with heat and walls, and it was an outbuilding. Like they have a lot, and he bought the property specifically to turn it into a church. So it was not some rundown building in the middle of the field that he was like, let's turn this into a church, Daddy. So
I did not know this.
So mostly this parishioner, Ryan, and his family, but with the help of some of the other men, he framed it, drywalled it, put a sacristy in, put an area for the priest to stay when he comes, obviously a sanctuary, a little area for us to gather. And now, how many people do we have?
I think we counted. It's like 35 or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of kids. We just, we had the person who's now the principal at St. Gertrude's, his family moved, so that was a reduction of 5 people then, and then there's another family who was here for medical school, and then he moved. So we still have the core, group that all converted, but
now the whites are here.
Oh yes, they came. So we added some, but yeah, we're up to like 30 something. So yeah, so that's our church. And in case anybody wants to check us out, we are on Facebook at St. Teresa of Avila Roman Catholic Mission. And I know some people say Avila, old habits die hard.
All right.
That's
okay.
it. I'm done.
Cool. Nice.
Music edition. We have that too. Usually we have a car driving through down the street, thumping really loud, shaking buildings right around consecration.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pretty common. It's unbelievable, the timing.
I actually really like the way Father Brueggemann described it. I think it was Father Brueggemann. He was just like, you're driving in the middle of nowhere, and then you just come upon this chapel, and it's very humbling because our Lord is there, and North Dakota sunsets are beautiful. So like sometimes if we're driving away from church or to church, depending on the time of year, it's wide open. You get to see a beautiful sunset, and it is it's a very picturesque kind of thing. But
yeah.
It is true. As we were driving, because we were up there just less than a month ago, and they're at the chapel for the first time. We're driving along, and I'm going, okay, is it soon? Is it soon? No, a little bit further, there it is. Okay, just boom, there you go.
Yes, and we are definitely a very young church. I am the oldest parishioner at 43. So, make way for the senior lady who is coming through. So we have lots of growing left to do. So
yes. All right.
Okay, so the next question is, how did you meet your husbands?
Oh boy.
I'm so nervous for this.
You can go first, Trisha.
Well, I went to work after I got my master's degree. Actually, I after I got my undergraduate degree, I went to work and was an intern at an accounting firm. And he was just starting at the same time. He was full time. I was an intern, and then about a year later, I started full time after I finished my master's degree. And we had met. We knew each other a little bit, kept in touch. He was like, "Hey, you're going to finish up your master's degree. I just did that. Let me give you my study materials." I'm going, sure, great, wonderful. So I picked them up. He will tell the story differently. I'm going to leave out parts of that because he likes to be obnoxious about it. But um, and so I went and got that, used those, which were helpful, and then went back, started working there, and a few months later, he ended up asking me out, and we started seeing each other at that point. And then yeah.
Well, he didn't even know you knew you existed for
He
a
did
while.
not. He did not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Blind and oblivious, such a jerk.
Yeah. He likes to relay that story a lot where he's like, I don't know where you guys were,
There
in
was
like a meeting or
it was an
something.
outing thing for work something to like get everybody together but have fun and not work. And then yeah. Oh, yeah. He's asking a friend of mine there, "Oh, who's this?" And she's like, "She's been working with us." And you kind of dumb here or but yeah, and then he also thought I was Latina.
Oh yeah. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't.
It was like August maybe, and I had a tan, so therefore I don't know. I don't know.
okay.
Funny. Next question.
All right, go ahead, Mom. Hey,
Okay.
no. Tell it. Come on, it's funny.
Okay, so please remember that I was not born sedevacantist.
Neither was he.
And neither was my father. Both of us were raised in non-Catholic households. I met my husband as a college cheerleader. So let's move on. So I cheered in college. I cheered all through high school and I cheered in college. And my cheerleading coach was a guy named Shannon. And Shannon had worked with the high schools and stuff. And he would recruit football players to like come and throw girls at like pep rallies and stuff. And they all thought it was cool. And then he would try to get them to cheer in college. And Brandon is just like the most sanguine person you've ever met. So he was up for anything. And so he came and we cheered together for like 3 or 4 years, 3 years. I don't know, a long time. He was my stunting partner and we started dating. And when he got assigned to me as a stunting partner, I was like, you better call me every day and make sure I don't need anything because I'm 3 years older than him. So I was like on my way out of school and he was on his way in. And he did, and he was so annoying. I told my roommate, I was like, what? Like, I didn't think he would do this. Like, what do I tell him? She's like, just tell him we need ice cream or something. Like, just give him something to do, and then he'll stop calling us. And he shows up at my door. You know, we were renting an apartment with one of those tiny fridges, and he shows up with 2 1-gallon things of ice cream. And I was like, what am I going to do with this? And that just really summarizes his personality. Because if you send him to the grocery store for like one thing, he'll come home with 5 of that one thing. But it's okay. Anyway, so we dated forever, and I was older than him, so like I wanted to get married, and so he was trying to convert me because I had. Okay, I'm going to go a little backstory. So when I was like 10, we lived in Colorado Springs, and we drove by this massive Mormon temple. If you've ever driven by them, they're very ornate and you know some could say beautiful, and you know, just really big. And we would drive by this huge Mormon church to go to our Presbyterian church. And I asked my dad, like, if they believe in God and we believe in God, but we believe in totally different things, like, how is that a thing? And I don't remember what he said to me, but it didn't satisfy me, whatever it was. And so I was always open to the fact that there was one God with one set of beliefs and there was essentially a right and a wrong. And so when he was trying to convert me, I was like, I went through the Novus Ordo first because I feel like just most people make a stop through there. And then I finally mostly it was David who converted me because he's much more logical about his presentation, but it was fine. They were young converts, so I don't fault Brandon for that. But and then I was like fully accepting of the Sedevacantist position, and I was like, let's get married. And Brandon was like, no thank you, I'm not ready for that, I'm very young. Because he was only 21 when we got married, so he was probably only 20 then.
Yeah.
And David's like, are you ever going to meet another girl who wants to be a Sedevacantist? I'm very high maintenance. I don't know if you can gather that. So he had some reservations. I'm not high maintenance. I'm just high, like, what is the word, Annie?
Bossy?
Sure, we'll go with that. Particular about things. Um, anyways, and David's like, you're gonna marry her. So we got married in a trailer. In the middle of nowhere, Minnesota, by a very nice older priest named Father De Silva, who had a very, very thick Indian accent. And I had no idea if we were actually married until the end because, like, it was my first, like, anything really. I think we had gone to one Latin mass before that in a community center down there. But anyways, so yes, we started off as college cheerleaders. We stunted on we had a wedding in a trailer, like our proper Catholic wedding, but we were very much, we were set of a conscience and belief, but very much not living our life like that. Like it didn't even occur to me that that
Yeah,
aspect
to do it.
existed. It was like, oh, well, I believe these things. So cool. Like carry on. Like I didn't know. Anyway, so we had like a, what do you call it? Like a wedding reception. So I wore like a wedding dress, not to my trailer real wedding, but to my, you know, fake wedding, with like a justice of the peace who legally married us. Well, under the law, not God. Anyways, and we stunted in our wedding dress, and you know, hopefully none of you know what that means. But basically, I stood. He held his hand above in the air, and I stood on it with my 2 feet, and like
In her wedding
in my
dress.
wedding dress. And I would have Annie post a picture, but my wedding dress didn't have sleeves; it was strapless. So maybe I'll put, maybe I'll see if she can modify it to look nicer and post it. But yeah, it was fun, and that's how we met.
All right. Nice. Oh, is it my turn? Okay, my
Yep.
bad. So now we're wondering, what are the ups and downs of being a mom?
It's so easy to sit there and think about all the difficult things really quickly. The lack of sleep, the stress, the worry, the all of it all comes to you pretty quickly. But it's funny because in thinking about that, you have this person that you just grew inside of you and you were literally attached to for 9 months, and then they come out of you and you look at them and you're like, I literally would do anything for you. While you guys might not think that now, as 15-year-olds, it's true. And there's a constant set of worry and a constant everything. Like, where are they? Are they okay? Looking at them, trying to figure out, like, okay, what's wrong? Just emotionally, just constantly worrying about absolutely every aspect of everything. And now that it's like Gianna's 15, okay, what is she going to be doing in the next few years? How do I help her figure this out? How do I help the boys where they're at? There's a lot to it. Just mentally, it's draining. It starts with just this idea of, yay, I'm pregnant for the first time type thing. And you're so excited. And then your entire life is now just, you feel this invisible cord attached to this person, these people that you're always constantly worried about. And
She just slapped Gianna for anyone who's
It's
not
a
a shot.
word.
Shut
Love
like
it.
that.
Love it.
oh yeah, there's ups and downs. You love them and yet you want to smack them at times too.
Just a little.
Amber, I don't know that you can relate to that,
Not
but
at
maybe.
all. I mean, especially Annie, she's such an easy child to
Of
parent.
course.
Yeah. So the ups are like when your children are sleeping when they're babies. That's wonderful. That's a big high for me. Like I just remember being so exhausted and you finally get that sweet child to sleep and you'd be like, "Oh, I miss you. I want to wake you up and spend time with you." Like it's a real thing. And like
It is,
when
and
they
then you
do
look at pictures. You sit there and
Yes,
you're like, oh,
yes.
look at them. They're silent and they're quiet.
Yes.
There's nothing going on. And then if they start to move, you're like, don't, just stay asleep. Stay
And you
asleep.
forgot that you took that picture to send to your husband because you just fought them for 3 hours to get them to go to sleep. That was the story of me and Elias. Yeah, and like when they do cute
too.
things and meet their milestones, or like, you know, yesterday Elias took his younger sibling swimming. He just thought it was a good idea and was like, I'll go do it. And like when they be independent and they make the right decision being independent, you're like, yay! Those are
Never
the
done that.
ups. The downs are when like, you know,
Don't.
they don't listen. Honestly, one of the biggest downs for me, and I'm only slightly joking about this, is like
Like
I
crash
was
your brain.
not, no, it has nothing to do with you.
Oh, okay, good.
I was not prepared for the level of overstimulated I would be and how that would affect me. Like, like a good Catholic parent was like, my children need to learn music. We're gonna have a big family, and every big religious family learns music. That was a mistake. Okay, I've got a violin going, a guitar going, a piano going, a saxophone going, what
Zelda instrument.
Yeah, Benjamin's learning some weird ocarina thing. It sounds like a horde recorder. And they're all very good, and I love them. But while that's happening, the 4-year-old's like, Mom, 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 Mom. And I wasn't prepared for that. All the while, my sanguine husband is like telling me his life story about work that has nothing to do, and the fan is on from cooking dinner. And I'm like, I need to leave. I was not prepared for that. I will also say that the swing between the hardness of mothering little children to the hardness of mothering teens and people about to go out into their like lives, I wouldn't say it's down, but I was certainly not prepared for that either. Like,
Well, Elias was like a perfect teenager, and then you got me.
yeah, you're special. That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but 10 out of 10
Okay,
recommend.
spectrum.
Have some kids. They're great.
They are. And anyone who says otherwise is wrong.
But I'm definitely
So-
ready for like my grandmother phase. Like, please just
You
like
got a couple years.
Yes, I have several years, but a friend of mine just had a baby, and Annie was like, "Hey, does this make you miss having little kids?" And I was like, "Well, no, I enjoyed it when I had them, but I'm definitely ready for grandma phase. Like, I'll burp you and hold you, and oh, now here's your mom. Go cry for her." I mean, I still have a 4-year-old who cries, so I'm not done. But yes, okay. Anyways, that's my
Second
say.
kid. Yes.
Okay. What's your favorite embarrassing story of us?
Of you together or
Just like Gianna, and then just me, or whatever.
you guys already told the story of you driving on the interstate. So,
Yes.
We weren't gonna
That
tell
was
you guys.
For me, though, that was
That
more
was-
embarrassing for her, I think.
Yeah, because I was trying not to cry the whole time.
Well, and it sounded like Gianna was white knuckling it the whole time.
Oh, she
too.
was. My
Just
phone was like wet when I got it back.
It's true. It was really wet. It's bad.
Honestly, it's hard to think of like truly embarrassing things that Gianna has done. She will, as a toddler, she did lots of ridiculous things. She had quite a fashion sense, I'll say that. She would wear like a princess nightgown with a pink tutu and a white summer hat and some winter pink gloves type of thing. And then put on her sparkly dress shoes. She had a style most people would not follow. She would not be an influencer in that regard, but otherwise, for the most part, now she is so much more reserved, and she will not let her real personality come out until she's really comfortable with people. So, she comes across as being like quiet and shy and all of that, and she can be to some degree, but she's if you really want to get a good solid, like Annie, you've gotten a taste of her.
I did. She started shaking me at the sleepover because I didn't know who played Mufasa from The Lion King. She was like, "What is wrong with you?"
She's very intense about The Lion King. The 1992
She
Disney
is.
cartoon version is the epitome of all cinema for her. And if you do not know who James Earl Jones is,
Yeah.
she will come for you.
He will shake you.
Yes. So, because he is Mufasa. So he has that voice. But yeah, until she's truly, really comfortable, she's not going to let her real personality come out. So, Annie, you've gotten a taste of this. If you ever really want to get a really solid taste of what she's like, you should see her with one of my brothers. My brother Andrew and her go at each other like they're siblings, and he is 35. So,
That's funny.
he likes to harass her. He's done it forever, and she now will give it back to him pretty solidly. She likes to screw with people as much as possible. She will mess with your brain.
Oh yeah, I have a story about that. Not for the
You have
podcast, but I have a story about that.
Yeah, I mean, there have been times she's like, okay, she's telling us what's going on between a conversation that she's having, and she's telling you then or giving you screenshots of it. And she's then telling us that Amber and Brandon are laughing their butts off, thinking this is hilarious and going,
Yeah.
So if you want to really truly get to know her, you have to get in her comfort zone.
Yeah.
But overall, she doesn't do that many like truly, truly embarrassing things. She's melancholic. She's more reserved in general. She's very cautious in life. Like we go to baseball games, she's going way to the outfield, way, way back because she's terrified she might get hit with a foul ball. She's never gotten hit with a foul ball. Got hit in the chest last year with a foul ball, and now she's scared of foul balls. So she's overly cautious. So getting her to do truly embarrassing things, not since she was like really, really little. I don't think. Because there was another one where if you guys know what ladder ball is, it's like it's got a string and it's got two hard balls on the end.
Yeah.
She was like 3, and she's playing with those things. I'm like, be careful, you're gonna smack yourself, and it's gonna really hurt. She's playing with it. All of a sudden, it comes up and slams her right in the middle of the forehead. And I go over there to try to comfort her, and she gets mad. She's angry over the whole thing, and she starts hitting me. So then she ends up with a massive pain in the middle of her head because she just injured herself, and getting spanked because she started hitting me. So now her butt hurts. Also, her own fault. So she's got those sorts of tendencies where it's like all of a sudden her emotions will explode, and there you go.
Yeah.
Wow. It's funny.
It's funny. I don't know about, embarrassing Gianna, but Gianna's low-key funny. Like,
She's
really funny.
hilarious.
When she, like, will text Annie some one-liners, I'm like, you are funny, girl. And, like, it's not the kind of, like, haha, like,
No, like she was
I'm
just
a
like,
comedian funny. It's, like, a low burn that's appropriate, but, like, also hilarious. So,
yeah.
we're big fans of Gianna.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's a family trait, but she definitely has the underlying sarcasm, and then she sometimes goes into the dark humor a little bit more. So
It's hilarious.
It's funny. Annie is a very just embarrassing child in general because she is not cautious. She is not reserved. She doesn't hold her tongue at all. So like the power went out when she was like, I don't know, 8. And she was like, the power is not coming out of the walls. And she's like trying all the different outlets. And we're like, Annie, the power is out. Like the power that supplies the home is out. And she's like, but it's in the wall. And she's like touching the wall. And I'm like, no, it's not, Annie. When she was way too old, probably also like roughly 7, 8, 9, we were driving, we live in the middle of nowhere, not our home, but like, and there was a field of
Oh, I was 11 when this happened.
cows. And she's like, horses. And we're like, no. Like, and they were close. It's not like they were off in a distance. So now to this day, whenever we drive by cows, we're like, horses, Annie. And like, I don't know, we were out, it's called the Greenway. It's like,
no, I know where this is going.
Well, you're lucky we're not showing the video. It's called the Greenway. It's just like a bike path type of thing, whatever. It's by the Red River. So there's like wildlife that'll come through. Anyways, there was some deer nearby, and Annie starts doing her impression of a deer. Now there's something called bounding. It's like a exercise that you do when you're warming up for sports, and it kind of looks like a deer. She could have done that, and instead she just started like jumping up and down, flailing her arms and legs, and we're like, what are you doing? And we just kind of realized that Annie's just the butt. Oh. And she crashed her car into a tree.
Oh, I forgot
And
about
like,
that.
I don't know how much it got joked about on the podcast. It is a very serious thing. We take it very seriously. There were significant consequences, but it's also the single most embarrassing thing I've ever seen in my life because she was at a full stop and the distance and the angle it would be like if you're turning the corner into a bedroom and ran into the wall, like where that holds the door frame. Like, it's just truly impressive how bad that mistake was. And we drive by it all the time. So we like go and pick up pieces of the car that are still there, the tiny, tiny plastic pieces that'll just be there forever. And like, it is serious and we don't think it's funny, but like, she's going to be a great grandmother. And we're going to be like, remember when Grandma Annie crashed into a tree? Because it's just that embarrassing. Like that.
I mean,
so
when
that
we were there, my boys, all the kids went on a field trip down the block to go see the spot. And
Okay,
we said we should probably put up a plaque. And my Elias and Bennett both brought home little tiny plastic pieces of the car, and they're like, these are our souvenirs from our trip.
Yes, I'm very thankful that she says her road prayers and that St. Christopher protected her. But I don't understand how, from a dead stop to the distance where the tree was, the car was totaled. Because her water bottle fell, and she was startled by the wet liquid on her lap.
I was wearing a really cute outfit, and I didn't want it to be saturated when I walked into the gas station. So, but that, every time, like, when I got my license, every time I got in the car, I said the St. Christopher prayer, and I was so rushed that day because they needed milk for their cereal, I didn't say it. And that's what happened. And now every time I get in the car, I say the St. Christopher prayer because I'm not letting that happen again. Like it was.
Well, you still have to make good decisions.
Well, yes.
So now she has all kinds of rules. When she is allowed to drive the car, she's not allowed to listen to the radio. She's not allowed to bring a water bottle anymore unless it's the kind that fully closes and she can put it on the floor.
I know I throw it in my backseat now because I'm so scared. Like I don't put them in the cup holders anymore.
Yeah, because it might spill on you. Anyways, Annie just gets to be the butt of our family jokes a lot because she just makes it so easy. But
Yeah.
we love her most of the time.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You can edit that part out.
Like
Oh,
the cow versus horses story. I mean, not Gianna, my sister Jody, who you both know.
Oh, Jesse.
When she was younger, I don't know how old she was, probably like 8, 9, somewhere in there. We were driving in Wisconsin, and she all of a sudden swore, she would have sworn on a stack of Bibles that she saw on the side of the road a dead kangaroo. And we looked at her and we were like, we're in Wisconsin. Kangaroos are only found in zoos if you're lucky. And so we're like, pretty sure it was a deer. No, it was kangaroo. She would not let it go. It was a dead kangaroo. So to this day, we're like, periodically, I'll just send her pictures of dead kangaroos and with no explanation. She's fully aware of what it means. But yeah, so you're in good company, Annie. You know, thrown off by these animals.
Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
All right, so now we're wondering what was your guys' reaction to Gianna and I saying we were going to start a podcast?
Well, I didn't find out right away. I found out through my sister Jody, who told me she texted me and she's like, "Oh, Amber was telling me that Annie and Gianna are thinking about starting a podcast." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I have no understanding. So then I'm going to Gianna and asking her. She goes, yeah, we just started maybe talking about maybe." I'm like, "You didn't think to say anything at all?" Nope. No. She kept it to herself. So I found out in a roundabout. So Amber, thank you for actually talking to Jody, and then she would let me know. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's how I found out.
I have a good explanation for that.
Yeah, sure.
So I was terrified to start the podcast.
Oh, I know.
And I was like, I didn't think it would actually happen. Because you kept talking about it, but I'm like, it's not gonna happen. Forget it. Like, I'm not gonna even bring it up because it's never gonna go anywhere. So then I was like, I'll just wait until it actually becomes a serious thing to tell her. But that didn't work out very well. So
yeah. So it was about 2 days after, I think, that you guys were really seriously discussing doing it, that I ended up finding out through text from my sister. So yeah.
Wow, Gianna.
I know.
Wow.
Annie said something to me, and because, as you'll remember, I'm the most positive person you've ever met, I was like, that's dumb. Nobody's going to listen. What are you going to talk about? I mean, I maybe said it slightly nicer than that, but
No, you
basically
didn't.
that.
Gianna was on the phone.
But within like not very long, like
It was 2 weeks.
2 weeks, it was within like the hour.
Oh.
I was like, actually, Annie, I think that's a really good idea. And you thought I was being like snarky.
Yeah.
And you were like, why? And I was like, no, I really do. And I said, even if nobody listens, you are getting together with another Catholic and talking about Catholic things. And even if it's like cringy and like whatever, it's good. Like you're talking about God with somebody else, and there is nothing but good things that can come out of it. But because I'm really negative, I made her record her the pilot like 3 times because she mistold the story about our church. And I was like, okay, you made it sound like we were in the middle of nowhere with like sticks being like, this is a church. But they have come such a long way. So my initial reaction to almost anything, any aspect of my life is no. But after like a hot minute, I was like, actually, this is a wonderful idea. And I encouraged you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
I did hear from Gianna with that. It was, Amber's comment was, what are you going to talk about? How to be annoying?
Yeah.
Sounds like me.
Yeah.
I think you also said like how to disobey your mom and dad at one point too.
Probably. But I think it's wonderful. So
you don't listen.
I listen to everything.
Oh,
I listen
you
to
told
all
me
of
the
them.
other day you're a bad mom because you don't listen anymore.
Well, I got behind, but I'm things going on. I will say, if you are an adult listening to this on behalf of your children, 10 out of 10 recommend every interview they've had with an adult. Like the priests and the clergy are like, I'm still learning things. I enjoy the teenagers, but I'm just not the audience.
Yeah.
So If I'm gonna listen, I'm gonna make sure I listen to the clergy.
Yeah.
So I'll just say that.
Yeah.
And the very popular episode in which the Eliases interviewed
Oh,
you guys.
yes, yes.
We
That's
gotta
great.
do that again. We have to do it again.
Yeah. Uh-huh. My Elias is very he's sanguine pretty much, honestly. He's just very open and he's ready to do whatever. And if it means getting on Gianna's nerves, he is all in.
Oh yeah.
My alliance is very melancholic and reserved. So they have like switched.
It was so funny because when Gianna was here and we went to drive with like Elias to Target, Elias Everhart to Target, Elias Larson opened the door and was like, "Bye, Elias, bye, Annie," and then he looked at Gianna and went, "Ugh," and then slammed the door.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, he did.
They have each other as a safety net, but they will also just he enjoys he's almost 13. He enjoys just poking the bear.
We got one of those too.
Yep, Benjamin.
Yeah.
Which is Benjamin is actually a great way to lead into this next question. Gianna, why don't you ask it?
So, who is your favorite kid?
Not you.
Oh, I love you.
All right, we're ending this thing.
No. It's probably Bennett. Come on. He's like the
No,
best
you guys,
of both
okay, I
worlds.
know that this is like shocking for you to believe, but parents genuinely don't have.
I asked your
Annie?
mother, and she said your mom is my favorite kid, hands down.
Because she was playing into it. Parents would literally die for any one of their children, and also they annoy them so badly that sometimes they want to not be near them. So
It is
Parents-
one of the most accurate statements I've ever heard. Yes.
my
Yeah, you
children
would
all
cut
think
limbs off. You would do anything
Yes.
for them. And you also want them to be far away from you at times. Because the touching and the everything and the constant talking and the noise. Yeah.
my children would all say that Benjamin is my favorite, and
I
I
have a
think that
story to back it up.
okay. I think the reason that they say that is because we are the same temperament, and I just understand him because we are horribly strong-willed clerics, and it's not a good thing, but I just understand him more. So, but he's not my favorite because he's a horribly stubborn cleric. I don't have favorites. I love all of my children.
Well, Sammy, though, he's so sweet. There's nothing bad about Sammy.
He's a sweet flag Maddie.
Okay,
Always smiling.
yes. And
And
then,
so sweet.
yeah. Well, when I was sick one time, I was probably 12. So I got sick, and my mom was like, "You're fine. Go to your room. You're fine." I didn't get no medicine, nothing, no energy. Like, usually we get like Gatorade when we're sick, nothing. Benjamin gets sick the next day. "Okay, Brandon, I gotta go to the store really quick because I have to go get vitamins for Benjamin. I have to go get Gatorade." And I'm like, "What is this?" And she's like, "Well, the rest of the kids are getting sick." And I'm like, "So I'm just here to fend for myself?
To be
What is
fair,
this?"
You were sometimes dramatic, and you had more of like a silent illness. So you just had a fever, and it was like, "You're fine, just go lay down." But then, you know, the other symptoms started, and I was like, "Oh, we are going down this path. Everybody's going down," and it just happened to be him that was like,
It just
presenting.
happened.
I don't have favorites.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And Dad's favorite is Elias.
No.
Okay, Dad's favorite is Elias with a close second of Mary. Your favorite is Benjamin with a close second of Sammy because Sammy will do anything you ask without back talking, and Benjamin is just you. So you guys just like click. I am just low.
You're
And
the
I-
black sheep. You're the outcast of the group.
Yes,
You're
I
the
am.
most famous of us all, Annie.
Moving on.
Parents don't have favorites. You can edit all that out.
I'm keeping it.
Parents don't have favorites.
All right. Now,
Oh, my favorite question.
The question everybody has been waiting for. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
My Toronto would be very upset if this question was not asked because
Yes.
he actually spoke about this. You guys failed to ask someone in one of the interviews.
Oh, it was Dad.
Oh,
It was
it?
Yeah.
her dad, yeah.
And he came up afterwards because he was at church. He was our priest that weekend. He's like, "You didn't ask the pineapple question."
Yeah.
It's what he waits for. Now I have had it. It's okay. I won't actively choose to order it, but I will eat it if it's there. I actually don't mind it. A friend of mine actually introduced it to me a very long time ago, and she's like, "You have to try it. It's the best thing ever." And I was like, "This is surprisingly decent."
Was that so what?
Yes.
Ah.
Yes. She is from Austria. So, but I was surprised by it.
I also had a friend introduce it to me when I was like, well, probably your age, like 15. I was living in Illinois at the time, and my friend, I was at her house, and she ordered a pineapple pizza from Domino's. I remember it vividly, and I didn't like pineapple. And I was like, I'm not trying it. And we went back and forth, and then she was like, "You're gonna try it." And so I tried a piece, and I was like, "I would like that whole pizza, please." And I just every pizza I've ever gotten my entire life since has been a pineapple.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I will go further and say that the best pineapple pizza is actually from Papa Murphy's because they have these little like shaped pieces of
No.
pineapple. What do you like?
Domino's is so much better.
Oh, I'm
Same
the
with
kind of
Pizza Ranch. Pizza Ranch has really good pineapple on pizza.
Maybe that's my problem. I haven't had the right one.
Yeah.
I'm just a big fan. I
Mhm.
love, but interestingly enough, I don't prefer to make it myself because I don't know where these places are sourcing their pineapple, but
Yeah.
it's just not.
It's not as good. And our pizza's always like runny.
Yeah, because it has too much juice in it. I don't know. Probably highly processed, but like if I try to make my own pineapple pizza, it's just not very good. So I don't.
Yeah.
But yes, 10 out of 10. Everybody should try pineapple on pizza.
Yeah. This is where I get my love and
Yes.
enthusiasm
It's
from.
very delicious. And it's Friday friendly.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's true. Just don't get the ham on it. But Gianna does not like, she likes it with her ham. So
Yeah, that's true.
she likes that combo.
All right. So, what is your temperament?
I'm melancholic. Um, I don't know my secondary. I've been trying to figure that out for a while. Bishop McGuire, years and years ago, was trying to help me figure it out. We cannot figure it out. And he even made a comment to me once because, again, comfort zone type thing and where you get. And he's like, if I didn't know better, I'd swear you were sanguine. And I'm like, comfort zone, comfort zone. I can sit there and talk to anybody if I'm comfortable with them and I know my audience type thing. If I'm comfortable with you, I know how it's that initial introductory type period where I'm like, okay, a little bit more quiet, a little bit more reserved. Where can I go with my conversations? I don't know. But overall, yes, I am definitely melancholic first and something second. I don't know if it's like a sanguine or a choleric. I'm not sure, honestly. Those are the two that I've kind of settled in a little bit more on, but I'm trying to figure that out.
What is your temperament, Mom?
So first of all, I say the names of all the temperaments very different from everybody else,
Oh,
but
yeah.
because I'm stubborn, I will not change them. So I am a choleric and I am very strong in that temperament, and I couldn't even possibly guess what my secondary temperament is. I wish that I was not so strongly, but I am. We're all a work in progress. Yeah. But I will say that my family, I really like temperaments because Annie was a very difficult child for me to parent because
I
she
still
is
am.
so different from me. Like I can't even begin to reason why she cares what anybody thinks about her. I'm like, who cares? Don't ever talk to him again. It doesn't matter. Like that is not the way the sanguines feel.
No.
And I like was really struggling. And then I came across a book on temperaments and I was like, it all just made sense. Like the temperament you are and the temperament your children are or your spouse and what motivates them is really important to understand. Now, it's not an excuse for any type of behavior. I don't get to just be rude and mean because I'm like, oh, it's okay, I'm a cleric. And Annie doesn't just get to do whatever other people want her to do because she's a likable sanguine. Like you're still responsible for your own behaviors, but just understanding what motivates your children and like knowing like, oh, this saint was this temperament and they were able to overcome it, or this saint was this. And we love temperaments in our house. And I'm going off subject here, but there is a traditional Catholic lady, I can't remember her name, who wrote a book on
Yes.
temperaments and it's on Tan's website and it's piety and something. I don't know. But
Yeah.
if you want to learn about temperaments, I highly recommend, especially if you're having trouble parenting a child who might have a different temperament than you.
I know. Now, Gianna is melancholic, obviously. Um, but so that's been easy for me because I can kind of easily get in with her. But I agree. I'd gotten that book and we were reading through parts of it. And like, here is your temperament. Understand yourself a little bit more. But then when she starts struggling with other people, I'm like, okay, we can kind of see which area they fall into. Let's read about them as well because it helps you to understand and actually get along with better, have better understanding of them and actually behave better with them and help them out in different ways, but just in general, have a better understanding and because everyone's different. But it definitely has helped her as we read through those because we're big into that too. We find it very interesting and it helps you to really understand where somebody else is coming from in a lot of areas, what their base passions typically tend to be. So
Yeah.
it's
You
very
need to
helpful.
get Gianna's mission in life, after no loving and serving God in this life to be with him in the next, is to get her uncle David on this show because he has the
I
best
know.
breakdown, just the simple. David is just so smart. He has the
He really
best
is.
way of like explaining it, like short and sweet and concise, and I could never do it justice. And then you don't have to read a whole book, but he's also humble and won't come on. But
Everybody comment, David, get on here right now, or I'm
Yes, put a
unsubscribing.
little voting poll in the comments. And yes, he's really,
Although-
really good.
yeah, it's
Jody's
great.
been trying to get him too. She's been trying to encourage him. He still won't do it.
Won't do it. Ugh.
I will babysit his kids for a year. For free. And they can go on a vacation
For a
off
year.
for an entire year. I'll take Madeline. I'll deal with her crying. It'll be good.
She's a sweet girl.
Impressive because it'll take her a little time to get over that hump of terror from a stranger and her mother's not right there.
Yeah.
Annie, like once I kind of started learning about temperaments and realized very quickly that Annie and Brandon are the same person, I made them t-shirts that said Sanguines Unite. And like when she is being especially like that, I'm like, she's yours. Go deal with her. And I'll just hear from the like corner, Sanguines Unite.
Yeah,
like,
well,
you guys are too much for me.
yeah. Although I feel like I'm a little less extra than Dad.
Well, yeah. But it's a work in progress. Like as you get more further in your sanctity,
It's as I met
you can
Gianna.
like chill down your symptoms.
Gianna, like,
complement each other very
yes,
well.
very much so. Yeah.
It's really good because she needs help being drawn out more and trying different things, doing different things, just becoming a little bit more outgoing. And instead of being so incredibly reserved in absolutely every way. And then she'll tell me other things and she's like, Annie's going off the deep end. She wants this, and I'm trying to reel her in. I'm like, so you're being more of the parent in this, and it helps because you're a friend and you're the same age. You can just, so I'm like, you guys complement each other very well.
yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I told Annie, I joked with her, I was like, I'm going to get on your podcast and say, my name is Amber and I don't want to be here. Because that just sums up, like, Brandon definitely pulls me. And I always do have a good time. Like, whenever, like, we had 26 people over in the
That was
the
so
kitchen
fun.
renovation. And I was like, no, please. And he, like, made me do it. And it was a wonderful time, despite the fact that I had cardboard on my floor. But it was a good time. So, yes.
Yeah.
You've done the kitchen renovation thing. I totally got it. I
Yeah.
was like, no, I'm impressed that you're this far already. And then it wasn't even a week later, and you're like sending pictures going, it's done. I'm going, seriously?
Yes. Done.
Impressive.
Yeah. It helps when you have teenagers
Yes.
who can drive.
This is true.
Not in the trees.
Not in the trees. You don't get very far when you go into
Yeah,
trees.
no, I had to keep running to the store because Sean and Dak had moving pools and whatever.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Who is your favorite saint?
I sit there and go through different lists of times of them. I always end up coming back to Saint Therese. I don't know. I've always had this draw to her. She's come through for me so many times when I do the novena to her. I get very excited when I get that little rose and whatever it is, smelling just little tiny rose itself, or however she ends up doing it. So Bishop McGuire was one who really, he's big into her too, and he really pulled me in even further. And he sent me a postcard years and years and years ago. And wrote on the back of it, I actually laminated it because it was just so funny, but it's a really cool postcard. He got it when he was in France in Lisieux, and he saw her body and everything. And he wrote on the back of it because he was struggling to get it in the mail and said, this postcard is going to be the reason that I have to go to purgatory, because he was struggling to get the postcard into an envelope. And he was getting so mad about the whole situation. The fact that he wrote that on there made me laugh, though. And I'm like, okay, I have to actually save this. And plus the fact that that man has like the neatest handwriting I have ever seen. He writes like he is a school teacher, an elementary school teacher. So it's kind of wild. But yeah, so probably her. I mean, a smattering of a lot of the other ones too, but she's always kind of like my go-to.
Yeah. What about you?
My turn. Saint Therese of the Zoo, as Lucy, my
Yeah,
4-year-old
Saint
calls
Therese of the Zoo.
my 4-year-old calls her of the Zoo. But she's my confirmation saint only because I didn't really know very many, and she like I had done a short stint in Novus Ordo, and being raised Protestant, like saints are not talked about, like they're almost negatively talked about if they are. So I didn't have any idea beyond who I had heard mentioned in like the news or whatever who saints were. But so she was my confirmation saint, and actually she's the reason I'm a set of a contest because I think Annie told this story,
I
but
butchered it though, like I do everything.
it's okay. It wasn't your story. You don't remember the details. So I was going to meet with a Novus Ordo priest because, I was talking with Brandon and David and they would give me points to talk to this priest about, and then I would go and whatever. And I don't know if somebody suggested I do a novena, but I was on day 9 and I had walked into the church to go and talk to him, the Novus Ordo priest, and I don't remember what they were doing, but they had collected roses that had been used. It was in the fall, so maybe it was around her feast day. I'm not really sure. But there was a basket of flowers waiting to be discarded, but it was an entire basket filled with dead roses because they were done being used and they were no longer red. So I had finished my novena that day, like trying to, like asking for some sort of sign that the set of a conscious position was right. And so I walked in to meet with this priest, saw a basket full of dead red roses, and then the meeting was terrible. And I was like, you have no idea. Like you could like when they immediately don't answer questions with like a formed argument and just go to being like, well, you don't know what you're talking about. You're not smart. Like then you're like, okay, we're done here. Like I'm willing to talk as long as you're not insulting me. But anyways, but coincidentally, I don't really have a devotion to her, which is interesting, but not interesting, but I don't know. I don't know why I don't, but I really like St. Francis de Sales. He's my favorite saint to read, but I've also never asked for his intercession in anything, which
You're
I know,
weird.
I'm just now realizing.
Saint Joseph.
Yeah, St. Joseph is my go-to. I'm a big St. Joseph fan. And I like St. Rita, St. Monica, St. Anne. So yeah, St. Monica, St. Anne,
Yeah.
St. Christopher.
Oh
I have
yeah.
severe car, especially with my children. So St. Christopher,
Saint Anthony. He's gonna be so annoyed with us. He's gonna be like, you,
Saint
I
Anthony.
know.
especially me, because I lose my earrings so much, and I'll say the prayer. And he's gonna be like, Annie, I had to pick up 1 million earrings for you. You owe me a thank you.
Yes, St. Anthony.
Saint
And
Anthony's my
then
gift.
shoot, who was I gonna say?
Saint Diffna, because you're crazy.
I am crazy. I do like Saint Dibna. No, but I thought she was made up. I didn't think she was a real saint.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because like the Novus Ordo suppresses just like so many
All the good ones, like Saint Philomena.
although they maybe know who she is, don't they?
No, they do. Anna had no idea who she
No.
was.
So I really like Saint Dibna. Yeah,
Picture
Saint
from the
Philomena.
calendar.
Yeah.
There's
So-
just there's a lot. I feel like whatever mood you're in or whatever assistance you need, there's a saint for that. Like
Yes.
there's too many
Yes.
to just pick one. But I really like Saint John Vianney.
Oh yeah.
I was very devoted to Saint Philomena.
Yes.
Yes. And I think that I'm just always shocked every time I hear one. I'm like, I didn't know that person existed.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a lot of good ones.
I know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, when the kids are picking confirmation saints, I'm like, you can't pick a bad saint. So
Yeah.
I ended up doing Saint Elizabeth of Hungary because my grandfather was born in Hungary, so I felt that connection. So I
wow.
did that one. You did Saint Clair because it's your birthday.
Yeah.
So her feast day is her birthday. Elias did Saint Dominic Savio because he was a kid. And Bennett chose Saint Luke.
Oh, on this one.
Bennett chose St. Luke for a very, very serious reason. His name is Bennett Alexander Larson. He chose Luke because then his name was Bennett Alexander Luke Larson, and his initials spelled out ball.
Oh,
That was his reason.
but I bet he learned a lot about St. Luke after he chose him.
He did.
So
He
there
did
you
because
go.
I made him do it. But that was his thing. He was looking through, going, "I need a saint with an L." And
Saint Joseph of Cupertino helped me pass my driver's test. I should have failed. I turned into the wrong lane.
Fly to the tree like the flying
was
saint that
silly.
he is.
you're flying.
Yeah.
That's what I want to know now. But yeah,
Hmm?
I know there's so many good ones that I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you though. St. Francis de Sales, I've read his intro to the devout life, and he's had so many good
Reading that
readings.
right
And
now.
then yeah, and then Mitch, I got him hooked on St. Anthony because he
Mm.
loses things a lot. So he would always be praying to St. Anthony now so that
Oh,
he can
yeah.
find whatever he loses. Or like Elias talking to Bishop McGuire for All Saints Day that one year, and Elias was dressed up as St. Peter, and we made him some golden keys for the keys to the church. And Bishop McGuire was talking about how he had lost his keys recently, and it was a big to do, and he regularly would lose his keys. So Elias walked up, threw his golden keys in his lap, and goes, "Here, I found him for you." And he was like 6, 7, so it shows his sanguine personality. I'm just like, "Yep, whatever. I don't care who you are. I'm just gonna say what I have to say."
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Interesting. I wonder, do you think most people are like especially devoted to one saint? I've just never really been able to be, I don't know. It's almost like,
I have so
okay,
many
like if you would
back
like to,
there.
I'm gonna let you know the next level crazy that I am, you guys. Okay, you're gonna get an insight.
Oh no.
So I was 13 years old when the original Toy Story came out. Okay. Animals don't
Where is
talk.
this
Stuffed
going?
animals don't talk. Okay. But I came home and I like felt bad for the stuffed animals that I had like, like put off to the side or whatever. And that's slightly how I feel about saints. Like I feel like I can't possibly be devoted to one because there's just like so many, there's like guilt involved. I don't know. It's weird. So I'm curious. I wonder if
I'm
that's
kind of the same way
I
though.
wonder if it's like a temperament thing. I am just a little bit,
With
crazy.
you because I feel the same way with Toy Story too. I'm like, maybe they are.
Yeah,
Maybe
right?
they do come to life after I'm walking out of the room. So I just like peek in and try to, and I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous.
See,
No,
but that's why you need
um,
religion because then you can rationalize that they are not alive.
they are not. And so, but I have the same feeling. But then I'm sitting there rationalizing to myself, going, the saints are in heaven where they are perfectly happy. They want to help us, and they're not going to have hurt feelings over
If you do one over
going
the
to
other.
one versus another.
See, I just need the rational person in the room to explain it like that.
Yeah.
But it takes me a while to get there, which is why I like Saint Tempta too, because I too am crazy. So,
Wow.
mhm.
All right. Is it
Okay.
your question?
Yeah. So this is the last question we have. Do you have any advice to teenagers?
Don't run into trees with the car.
Goodness. Goodness.
Just okay, figuratively and literally.
But no, seriously, listen to your parents. We actually do love you and have all of your best interests at heart. We are trying our very hardest, and we know we fail at times, but we definitely are trying our very hardest because we want you to do well, to be happy, to have successful lives, and ultimately to go to heaven. But also, I would say learn everything you can now. Like religion wise, I know it can be difficult given the state of the world that we're in right now, with church and not having access to catechism as easily or priests as easily. I did not have any of that growing up either because it was chaos. So I'm slowly still learning. Like Amber had said, I love hearing the priests and the adults on the podcast. They're great. They're a wealth of information because it's so much that don't have access to. You guys are giving us a lot of access to things that we never had growing up because it wasn't there. It wasn't available to us for whatever reason. But learning the stuff later on as you get older, you don't have as much time to do it either. So I really wish I would have spent more time as a teenager reading everything I could, or just finding out from people everything I could on, especially on the religion side of things. What should I be doing? What shouldn't I be doing? Looking for any sort of guidance and not being afraid to ask. A lot of people are just always willing to open up and give you their time and whatever they can offer. So yeah, that's what I would say generally.
What about you?
Well, that was good advice. And all the advice that like everybody gives, the clergy and stuff when you
Listen to your
I'm-
parents.
yes, I'm gonna go a totally different direction.
Oh.
And I'm gonna say
Oh no.
introduce yourself to new people at church. And if you are new people at church, go meet somebody. Because especially in our community, we have like nobody has actually ever shown up at our church that we don't know, but like they showed up at Sartell, or sometimes people will show. I'm sure it happens all the time at like St. Gertrude's. Maybe it happens at Milwaukee, and like especially like parents, yeah, maybe you're like chasing children or whatever. And like I do not have the temperament to be like, hello, my name is Amber. It's so nice to meet you. Welcome to our church. But sometimes people need that because like they're just trying out your church or whatever. So especially if you're a teenager, like Annie knew people there and she still wasn't the one to go up and talk to them. So
No,
like
it's
she
crazy.
yeah, she just needed somebody outgoing to come up and be like, "Oh my goodness, Annie, you're here." And then it was like we couldn't pull her away. So as hard as it is, I would just say if you are a teenager and you notice somebody new and they might look at you like you're insane, but that's okay. Just go up and be like, "Hi. Welcome. Be my friend."
I actually have a story about that. So we had just gotten out of mass. I was still like on cloud nine about having just gotten a Crown Mary, and somebody taps my shoulder and was like, "Hi, Annie," and I was like, "Hello," and she was like, "Oh, I'm so glad you're here," and I was like, "Yeah," and then she's like, "Oh, I'm Sarah, by the way," and I was like, "Sarah, I know you. Hi, Sarah." But so I met her on Trad Chat, and she doesn't have like a profile picture, so I don't know what she looked like, but I have my face on there, so she knew what I looked like. So that was be more like Sarah. Everybody should be more like Sarah.
Yes. That would be what I'd say, and everything everybody else says. Obviously, listen to your parents, but they never do. So, and I will say, if you don't have a parent that you're willing to listen to, find somebody else who is Catholic to listen to. Like Annie texts somebody who used to go to our church, and I don't, how much older is she than you? Like 15, 20? She's a mom.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no, you're going to another person you trust who's a Catholic for
Definitely,
advice.
she's sanguine.
Yes, and that's fine. I encourage you to do that. Go do that. Seek advice from anybody who's telling you the right things, not from the world, because the world will deceive you. So
Oh yeah.
that's it.
That's true.
All right.
And don't be hiding things from your parents either, Gianna.
Yeah, like
Not
podcast
telling me about podcasts and things like that you have planned.
or the interstate driving accident. Well,
I
it
have-
wasn't an accident. Incident.
Incident.
Unintended interstate driving.
In my defense,
That
Gianna's horrible at giving
Okay, that's
directions.
That's another life piece of advice. Sometimes GPS will leave you into like a field in the middle of nowhere, and you're like, "Why am I here?"
Okay, but we were literally
Yes.
marching on. She's like, "You're good, just continue."
You
And I'm like,
were
"Gianna, the speed
raised
limit's
in
80."
Okay. Well, again, in my defense,
Oh boy.
I don't know the route in North Dakota or anything, or the roads
This
or
is Annie's
anything.
fault. I'm
You
with
should
you,
know
Gianna.
that. Yeah.
She should know that.
I didn't go to EGA.
You were on the interstate.
I've never. Okay,
Okay,
we're ending this now. Anyways,
You can edit that out.
does anybody have any more things to add before I end this?
Negative.
Not to be recorded. No.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, mothers, for coming on. Thank you for not embarrassing us completely. And yeah, thanks for everything you do.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, happy Mother's
Happy
Day.
belated Mother's Day.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, so that wraps up this episode, and thank you guys so much for listening.
We don't know what our next episode will be again. We have a few people on, I guess you could say,
Standby?
hold.
Yeah.
Standby. That's a good one. Good word for it.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I mean, we have one interview that's like set up that took a while to set up. It's actually, yeah, the on June.
Oh yes. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So
That
we
one's
have
gonna be
that
really
one
good.
set up. Yeah, we did
I'm
ask
so
two
excited.
other people, but they haven't responded yet.
Yep.
We also had a request on doing uh, just doing like a rosary for an episode.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, there we
Yes.
go. Yeah, so we had that request as well. So we might
Mhm.
do that when
And we
we
also
don't
have
have any
sermons.
specific
We have sermons
sermon.
left to
Yes.
post, so that more than likely it'll be that or the rosary next week.
Yeah.
We are so out of it. It's because like summer's coming around and it's like we're just summer mode. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, but that's kind of the thing for that. But yeah, this is probably one of our longest episodes, I feel
In
like.
a while,
I don't know
yeah.
how long it was, but like I
went.
feel like
Yeah.
with our rant at the beginning and then with the moms going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good job for our moms. I guess they are yappers just like us. Just kidding. I feel like yapping is like sounds rude almost.
I
Like
have no idea.
I don't know. I always just say like yapping. I don't know. Maybe this
Well,
is
nowadays anything can sound
not
rude.
rude. Yeah.
You know, like a person's skin color.
God bless and Saint Philomena.
Both God, pray for us.